It's a pretty mask for the fault. Are we dealing with a fox or a wing? Fire button controls are too fantastic and mission objectives are too imaginary. Sure, the game does look pretty sweet, but there's a problem. Players, gamers themselves, are very deceiving. That's because a game is usually deceiving in some fashion. Maybe you would steal a base like you would in baseball. Maybe you would tackle goals like you would in questionable classes of school. Maybe you would keep your ground, although there's no ground to begin with, and so on. I do have fun with this game, but I don't know what I'm looking at, really. I don't know what I'm looking at. Star Fox is a Super Nintendo game from the past. You can find old games from the past. There does seem to be a problem. Today, modern gamers enjoy high-definition video with lots of descriptions within forms of specific imagery. What you get from the past very often are old retro vid games with plain geometry and basic shapes. Modern gamers expect a lot from a square, a circle, a triangle, a rectangle, and so forth with real-to-life imagery, or just very visual fantasy with tangible substance. This was not an option for that many old video games. Sometimes a square, a circle, triangle, etc. was all there was to graphics, and vintage retro video game were container of quick, easy TV light. It's the case with Star Fox. At times I will think I'm shooting something when really I'm not hitting anything. Or at times I will think that I'm missing something when really I'm not avoiding anything. If you look closely at the dodge, rush, and movement of alien UFOs, you can imagine a psychological view of fighting. How deep is the substance, dude? Star Fox was an amazing program back in the days of 32-bit similarity. In fact, Star Fox is perhaps the greatest introduction to 3D 32x enhancements of power for lesser video game consoles of input during the 60-bit generation. But that doesn't say much. Trust me, I want to believe Star Fox. A problem comes up concerning shapes and sizes. Most video game players have a bad sense of anatomy. That impacts judgment. This impacts knowledge. This impacts sight. Whew. Thus, we're dealing with an industry building around clueless artists and pointless thinkers, my friend. Literary criticism is an art, so I'm probably guilty about life and gaming to an extent. Woes me. Well, fine, sue me. One moment I see a program, the next moment I see another program, and doubt the previous program. Going on further, I see even more programs that get mixed feelings of awareness and consciousness. This situation is a cause for disorderly fashion under the radar. Do you know what the enemies even are? By modern standards, even standards back in the day, I could surprise you with my gut feeling against your rational entertainment. Fantasy can be very good for a while, man. Eventually, maybe you hope to go outside and get a breath of fresh air sometime. Maybe nature has the real key to appreciating Star Fox for this aftertaste of logistics. I play Star Fox and still don't know what I'm looking at. Actually, back in the Super Nintendo days, I did not know what I was looking at even back then in that point of history, which raises the question, what is Star Fox today? The game is not even called Star Fox everywhere you go on Earth. I think what was happening was that Star Fox was a given object of abusive fire, wild turns, and magnificent changes, so much that by the time we got fantasy in the making with new ideas, we were burning reality for old ideas. Since new ideas have always existed on Earth's history, this is nothing really new. And just keep in mind, in case you're not aware of my voice acting there, Yeah, that's my voice acting. Yeah, that's another voice I did to trick you there, huh? I do not really sound like that in normal life. But anyways, um, this is a Super Nintendo controller, as you can see. This controller is really good with Star Fox, I would say. But I would say something like this. Like the Super Nintendo Advantage joystick, or this one, which is a very similar quality one to that one. A Super Nintendo joystick like this will really, really give you the best of what Star Fox is made of. And hey, I know you guys want to tell me what is in your glam, or you want to tell me what is in your game. But, let's be honest. Tastes will change depending on, your experiences, and I cannot have the same experiences as everybody else, because my experiences help me develop my original authorship in my literature and poetry and such. And definitely, I recommend you guys to do reading about the Super Nintendo and not just see things with your eyes and make thoughts and feelings about your sight. Because if you try to do that all the time, you will definitely run into danger and trouble in the future. Sight is not the same as reading, because sight does not, in most cases, give you the name of an object. Let me give you an example. Do you know what this is? What is the name of this? You do not know? Okay. What is the name of this? Like this. Like, what is the name of this? This is a tool used for parties. What is it? Or how about, for example, what is this? You can see that there's some kind of tool inside. There's like fluid here. What is this? How does this serve a party? Or like, are you cooking in the kitchen? Okay. You may use something like this for your kitchen. This is a tool you could use for your kitchen. What is this? Do you know the name of this kitchen tool for your kitchen? Yeah, obviously, reading is not merely about having ideas, about having opinions, about having comments, about having theories even. It's also about what your specific vocabulary is regarding specific materials and specific circumstances. So for example, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Oh, here's another kitchen tool item. This is for the kitchen. You use this with fruit. What is this? Yeah. Obviously, it's not enough just to see things with your eyes. Definitely, if you attempt to write literature of any kind, or even speak in public without describing what your site is made of with words and phrases and such, you'll run into a lot of problems, and you'll say a lot of false language in your mouth, because you're trying to describe something you see, but other people do not really know what you see, because they do not know what you're calling something with your site. And yeah, for that reason, literature is very much about, like what you call things with your literature. And hey, I know that there are entertainers out there in California who are concerned about my credit as an artist. And well, if you would like to talk to me in person about my art and recommend any licensing or package deals for business purposes, you could just visit the bookstore near Crazy Otto's restaurant in Santa Clarita, California, and leave them a note about me with my name, Alexander Andrew Julian. That is my name, and leave your name, and I'll pick up that note later, and maybe I'll get to call you if you leave a phone number on there, and we'll figure out where you are going with your business for mine. So, keep that in mind. That's my invitation for you, entertainers, if you want to know my stuff, okay? Like, I could go to places, okay? Like, I live near Los Angeles. I know there's Comic Cons that happen out there. I know there's, other events that happen. I know there are entertainment venues. I've been to them. For example, like when I was doing that video game review for a PlayStation 4 game called Traverse USA, you know how I did my review voice for that one? I was gathering up my experiences of all the times I had ever been to sports arenas, in particular to a horse racing course in California called Santa Ana Park. If that's the name. Maybe that's just my nickname, but maybe that is the real name. Yeah. That's a horse racing course, and I was there. So I know what it's like to be an announcer in a sports event. So I could do some sports announcing in some way. Although on an artistic scale, maybe not on a really professional sports skill. Kind of more like a hobbies and crafts kind of thing. But hey, I could get even more professional if I need to be. So, yeah. I know there are visitors to this website who are concerned about my reputation as an artist. Well, I'll tell you, okay. That's good, but just keep in mind that there is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to things like licensing and formal education and contracts and that kind of stuff. Basically, you need to talk to me in person if you really need to talk to me in person about something important. And you know where my invitation is? In Santa Clarita, California, and you take care. Happy holidays. God bless.